though.
I hate Arsenal fans. I hate them.
That's how we're going to start the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 4 of Out of Context Mastour Debatours. Comments, guys. Today I am joined by 3 lovely, lovely gentlemen. Returning is T-Ray all day. Say hello to the people, Tyler.
Hello, people. Tyler.
Yes. And we're talking about RTGs today. So I'm bringing on the unofficial king of the RTG scene, and that is young JYakers. Say hello, Jack.
Hello.
Yes, and another RTG king himself, Rich. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
Good. It's good to bring you two on and to have Tyler back on again. But first, we're going to go ahead and tackle a popular topic on this podcast. It just keeps on reoccurring, and that is MGH. Just news breaking, guys. This morning, MGH released a video that was spurred on by a conversation he had on the Twitters. I believe between him and Cal Freezy and Channy Sports, and basically they were talking about microtransactions and DLC into career mode in order to kind of incentivize EA to basically make more developments into career mode, which is a smart idea. He then went ahead and he did a bike vlog today where he basically discussed this idea of microtransactions as well as DLC, trying to bring them in to career mode. His suggestions were kind of timer based, kind of like Clash of Clans. Like if you want to train a player, you can kind of give them more, you can pay to accelerate it, or if you want a development on your basically on your stadium, you could accelerate that as well. And he went on to basically say that it's getting more and it's getting more and more hard every single year to keep career mode fresh. There's been very minute elevations in the mode, while Ultimate Team is getting all of this attention and development, and they get a new game mode pretty much every single year. And he suggests that the only way that we're going to incentivize it is if there's a monetary value in them actually improving the mode, which makes a lot of sense. And then he goes on to pretty much say that if the trends keep on continuing, career modes, people on YouTube are just going to stop watching career modes because it just kind of gets boring. It's keeping it harder and harder to keep it fresh every single year, and that career mode YouTubers might become a thing of a past if the views aren't going to be there. And at the very end, he basically asks EA for a job to bring him on. I'm guessing in a consulting capacity. And that's pretty much how he ends it off. And he does it, and the title of the video is hashtag make career mode great again, which for me and Tyler have a very negative connotation because that is basically the same slogan as presidential nominee, well, maybe not officially yet, but Donald Trump, which we are both not very big fans of. I think most people under 25 are not really big fans of. First off, Tyler, what do you think about that hashtag, make career mode great again? Do you think it was the greatest hashtag ever?
Can we just not talk about the hashtag? Let's just move past it. Like, you could have went with change career mode as well. Like, we did that whole thing.
They did that last year, though.
But that was
you still could have done it. Like, we had ideas from it last year.
It's better than referencing Donald Trump.
Yeah, definitely. God.
Yeah, but he's going to make America great again, so, you know.
Well, do you guys think that I think MGH is probably a relatively smart guy. I have to think this is ignorance, that he didn't think about it. Like, it was in the back of his head and he was like, oh, that sounds good. And he puts it out there and he totally just doesn't pay enough attention to American politics to know. And good on him for not knowing.
Yeah, God.
Yeah, that's Donald Trump's slogan. But I mean, most of his fan base is probably in the UK anyway. So did that have a negative ring to you guys, Rich and Jack?
No, I didn't really think that. I looked at that and I didn't really think that it had anything to do with Donald Trump or anything. I just thought that what he'd put on there was something he'd thought up. It's a decent hashtag, but it could be better, like you say. But I think it's it could be shortened down a little bit, maybe. I don't know.
Rich,
it seems quite
did that ring anything?
Yeah, I didn't really make the connection to Donald Trump, to be honest. So I didn't even think of that. So
it's an American thing, but that's besides the point. It's just the title of it. What do you guys think of adding microtransactions, or what do you guys? Rich? What is your thoughts on you watched the video, I assume, and what are your basically like your thoughts on it? Do you think he has a point?
About microtransactions, yeah, I mean, if it makes them innovate, then it's obviously a good thing. And if there was, for instance, like a class of 92 career mode pack that you could get, I would personally
Yeah.
love that.
Oh yeah.
That would be amazing. So I would be fully behind if they wanted to do that and it'll help them improve career mode. Then yeah, for me that would be a positive thing. But yeah, I don't feel that they've improved Ultimate Team much in the last couple of years. Obviously, this year they had the draft system, but from FIFA 14 to FIFA 16, they've not really done anything with it, despite how much money that game mode makes for them. They've not done a lot. So if all they're going to do is do packs like that in career mode and charge people for it, then that wouldn't really be great. Like, it's not really going to change career mode much. It's just adding something that we'd all enjoy, maybe. Well, the Class of 92 career mode thing, like I say, would be amazing, but yeah, I don't know how much they'd really do if they'd just milk that and just basically put out loads of packs like that, like they put out loads of players in Ultimate Team, and that's pretty much all they do. But depends what they really did to make career mode better if they monetized it, basically.
Yeah,
I think you could make the argument that if people play career mode because it's something that you don't have to pay for, in some sense, you don't have to pay to get the best squad, you don't have to pay to get the best players. You just play the game and you build it up from the bottom or wherever you start at. Even if you're at Real Madrid, you want to try and get the best players, then it's not something that you'd have to pay for. But it depends how they add it. You know, if they do like DLC sort of stuff like the Class of 92, then that could be a good idea. But if they sort of add it so people have to pay to get sort of the best squads or the best growth or whatever in career mode, then I'm not really sure that would work, to be honest, because it would just favour the paying player, really.
I'm not really I don't agree with that argument. Like, MGH made that argument as well, because, I mean, people play FUT all the time. There's trading channels on YouTube basically dedicated to making as much coins as you can without spending any coins at all, like any money at all. And you can get the best teams possible without spending money at all in Ultimate Team. It's just kind of those ones that want to speed up the process.
Could you truly get like a full team of the season, or
easily.
a full legend squad?
Yeah.
Oh, by trade.
Yeah, you trade.
Oh,
easily.
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
You just need patience for that, but you can definitely do it.
That's a good point. MGH did. I mean, to give him credit in the video, he does say that like, yeah, he a lot of people play it for the allure that it is free. One of the issues about this video being made is that I saw on Twitter. Channy reached out, and maybe somebody else that's kind of out of my brain right now. But he reached out and he said, "Hey, he asked for a collaboration to kind of speak, like, hey, let's make a video about it. Let's discuss this." And then MGH goes ahead and he drops this video today. And the issue with it is that he speaks to the community as if we're a community, but Masterbucks
talking to us.
But Masterbucks released a video saying pretty much this and actually proposing a better DLC and microtransaction system like 5 months ago. Yeah. Unfortunately for Masterbucks, I'm sorry, but the title of the way that he basically, the way that he titled it and the way that he described it is poor, because it's called Career Mode Sucks, a rant against career mode. And it's it's a clickbait title.
And spent most of the time talking about NBA 2K.
But that's but he had valid points. Say what you will about Masterbucks, like, he had very valid points, and say what you want about that title. If you would have said, like, better way to change career mode, like, it would have been taken more seriously. It wouldn't have gotten the same amount of views, but it would have been taken a little bit more seriously. He proposed a system in which it's like 2K, and I don't know if you guys are well versed in 2K, but it has like kind of like my player points, essentially. Like, you don't have to buy those points. You accumulate them by doing well. Whose phone is on? Tyler! I'm trying to run a fucking professional podcast right here. Anyway.
Professional.
Yeah, basically, like, you can accrue those points. It's like the FIFA points that you accrue, that you can unlock stuff in the catalog, essentially. But the swag is just so much more incredible in 2K. You have your own gym, which you can deck out and customize everything. You can deck out like what your player is wearing outside of games and whatnot. You can upgrade, if you want to upgrade his speed or his attributes, you can. If you want to buy like sweet ass kicks, and they actually have licensing with like Jordan and Nike, and I believe in other companies. There's a whole bunch of like sponsorship like deals that are available, and probably that 2K are getting money from. or paying license from, which either way. But you can either earn those points in game, or you can pay, like to go ahead and get a card, like a GTA card or whatever, and get points throughout the system, which I thought was a little bit more of an intelligent DLC system. And also, I proposed this in our 30 for 30 thing that we did with Spar and DK, in which basically I said, yeah, like, hey, we're not going to get much done by just yelling at EA that you're terrible and you should change stuff because you're terrible. Like, that makes, like, if anybody yelled at you to say that, first yelling is like, hey, fuckhead, you're terrible and you're driving on the wrong side of the road. At first you would be like, fuck you, I'm gonna keep driving on the side of the road. It doesn't incentivize anybody by being negative or being really combative. Like, you need to find a way, and this is where I think both MGH and Masterbucks are on the right track, where your both interests align in a certain point. We know EA wants money. We both want career mode to have developments. If we put microtransactions in a positive way, I think it could really help. I think it could change, or at least motivate some change. Like, or if it be DLC Legends, if it be microtransactions to get like certain upgrades for players or getting better swag, I think it'll be good. The issue is that I feel like us as a community, like, are we really a career mode community? Because this is like the third movement that we've had to change career mode. Like, there was a hashtag for, like, in Masterbuck's video, he had a hashtag, and this one was a MGH's video, there was a hashtag, and in Spar and DK's video, there was a hashtag. And if we're truly like a community, shouldn't we be coming together as an actual, like, one community and having an actual discussion instead of everybody kind of doing their own thing? Like, what do you got, Tyler? Do you think it's been a little bit messy with all these different hashtags and stuff since Channing dropped his?
The closest we've gotten to like an actual community is the 30 for 30, 30 and 30, whatever. And MGH and Channing didn't want to be a part of that. So you can tell that where their interests kind of align, they kind of don't want to help out the smaller guys, it seems. I mean, Channing does from time to time, but MGH kind of just seems to be totally against that. Same with Masterbucks. Masterbucks totally seems to be for himself, really. Whereas all the smaller guys... It's true. But all the smaller guys kind of seem to band together and try to really make change, whereas the bigger guys are kind of just like, yeah, we want change, but we're not going to do anything about it.
I think that the rub is that they saw what happened with Chani and changed career mode. And let's not get it twisted. The rub was Chani was already pretty big. Hashtag change career mode shot him into the stratosphere of, like, he got so many subscribers because he was at the forefront of that movement. And I think this is just my speculation. Like, people want the views, man. Like, if you can be at the forefront of a movement on YouTube, you're going to be whatever new hashtag that it is, be it on career mode or like WTF YouTube or hashtag React World, like, or anything like that. You become, you get a massive amount of attention, of subscribers and views. And I think as a community, we've gotten a little bit selfish. I'm not going to, that we all kind of want to be that guy, leading the charge. We kind of want to be that guy that sits on the top of that wave of, this great movement that we're doing. And we need to put aside our egos. If we're really going to be a community, right? If we're really going to be a career mode community, if we really want change, we should put aside our egos. It's like, hey, it's not about... it's not about me getting shine. It's not about you getting shine. It's about us actually wanting a fucking better career mode, right?
Yeah, so the only way it's ever going to happen is if everyone has come together and there's one single movement instead of being these separate movements by the bigger people and whatnot. If this is actually going to work, it needs to be on mass numbers, like the biggest possible. It needs everyone involved in the community. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. Yeah. Even if there is like the slightest chance of it working, that's the only way it's going to happen.
I mean, Chani got shine. Chani got shine last time, and he was able to actually somebody reached out on Twitter from EA and actually asked for a list. Excuse me, I had a burp.
Professional.
Thank you. Yeah, he actually reached out to him, and as he said, like, oh, there wasn't really that much that was added, but it was late in their development cycle, so technically we should be seeing some of the fruits of that movement in FIFA 17, hopefully, but we're all kind of cynical right here. But I totally agree with Jack. Like, if we're really going to be a community, if we're really all about like, hey, this is all of us together, then we need to have one unified movement. It shouldn't be, like, I want to be ahead of this hashtag or anything like that. And even I'm going to turn it on us. Like, the most unified one was probably Sparring DK's 30 and 30, but I was voicing my concern about that at that time. Sparring did an amazing job getting 30 people to coordinate and get it down to 30 seconds to get all those ideas out. But unfortunately, it didn't get enough social push. Like, because I felt personally that we should have all released the same video on our channel or have like our own personal take on our channels at the same time and coordinate all that. It was difficult, and it's not all Sparring's fault. And I don't think it was an ego thing for Sparring. He's the one who came up with that. He should deserve that shine. But I think he was too small. Like, he's only like, he's under like 5K, and he wasn't gonna get the amount of social push that an MGH or a Masterbucks or a Docs or a Channy Sports was gonna get. So honestly, like, I can understand if you're big up there, like an MGH or a Masterbucks, and you're looking down on us, like, they could see us as we're trying to reach up and touch them, like, try to get some of their, like, fame and stuff. But honestly, we don't need to be included. If I'm going to be honest, like, Rich, me, Tyler, and Jack, and basically anyone in our Mastour Debatours group, we're still pretty small, Like, I don't care. I don't care if we get shine. I just want MGH, Channing, Docs, Masterbucks, and all the big guys, and Ches, and all of them to get together. If they can make a single video, that would make a difference, is all I'm saying. So I implore you, all of you big-time YouTubers to like, or career mode YouTubers, if you really want change, put your egos aside, just all come together in some type of summit and voice your opinions in unison. Drop your own personal video. They'll all get views, what I'm saying? But have a unified hashtag through everything. And to be fair to MGH, he didn't ask to spread the hashtag on Twitter, if I remember correctly in that video.
Mm-hmm.
No?
Yeah. No, he didn't.
Yeah.
No.
So, like, he wasn't asking for that shine. He just put that bad hashtag up there. But subjective to Americans and UK people. But yeah, like, Channy reached out, and I think Channy had the right idea for them to all come together and have a discussion about it. And I feel like that opportunity is still there. You know what I'm saying? Like, for all of them to come together and to make it.
And then Jared's the one that asks, like, you should invite a lot of the smaller guys as well. Kind of have like a big community discussion if you can.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that.
I think the more people you have involved, though, the more difficult it becomes.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Less voicing of your own opinion, and it would just get a bit conflicted, really.
Yeah. Honestly, they could just look at the 30 and 30. We already voiced our concerns in that 30 for 30. They could look at that. I'm personally, like, this is for the betterment of this career mode. Just objectively, have the top guys. It makes the most sense. Have, like the top guys, everyone that's, around 100K, come together and just get it out and actually voice your opinions. And hopefully we could actually see some change. Do you guys have anything else to say on this topic? No, we're all good. We're all good. I do want to say that MGH at the very end, basically, in his own words, begged for a job with EA on a consulting basis, I assume, but then went ahead and said that he doesn't want to move to Vancouver if the job opportunity arose. He wants to stay in London.
Yeah, he said, "Oh yeah, I'm half an hour away from Guildford, but oh yeah, it might be in Vancouver, and if it's there, well, I'm not really up for that."
Yeah, like you, Rich. How do you feel about this? If you got your dream job and it's in Canada, are you going to move to Canada?
Of course I'd move to Canada. I wouldn't put it out there, oh yeah, the dream job has to come to me. That's bullshit, isn't it? Like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
All in or in the way.
Yeah, it's a little bit MGH. I feel like we've been very fair to you, but that was a little bit egotistical. Although, to be fair to him, I think what he meant was that, like, he would come in a consulting capacity, and he doesn't need to move to Canada to
Yeah.
We live in the modern age. He could webcam in, or he could go to the headquarters in the UK. I mean, Spencer does.
Again, in a consulting capacity, I feel like it would be beneficial to have a group of people, not just one person. Like, you need a group of people having their say of what. You don't really want one person speaking for the entire community. That's not really gonna.
Basically, it'd just be catered. Career mode would be catered to him and not for the community.
The MGH
itself.
career mode.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
no.
that would be boring. Shots.
Yeah. Shots.
Full of shots.
He said it himself in his video. Okay.
He did. He said in the video that he admits that he hasn't evolved in the past. He says he's just doing. He said it in the video himself. He's like, I'm doing the same thing that I was doing 2 years ago. And for me, and he complains about like, oh, like people are it's dying out faster. People are just aren't clicking as much, and that basically people are complaining that they find it boring. And part of me is like, well, yeah, like the career mode hasn't really evolved in that amount of time, but I mean, you could have made steps to improve.
Well,
His
you're doing
not
the same
changed his
thing for a
content.
couple of years. Like, people are going to get bored of your content, aren't they? Really, like, you need to make steps to innovate and make your content better. If you just remain the same, people are going to stop watching you, basically.
Yeah.
To be fair, he did say he added green screen and face cam, but that's it in 2 years.
And he does live.
You see all these, like, my players that are popping up now, they're getting very popular, and it's just about adding something extra to the gameplay and the game mode itself, trying to, because obviously EA aren't going to put that in, or maybe they will for FIFA 17, but this year they haven't really added much compared to last year, except for the training. So especially with my player as well, you've got to make storylines, you've got to make something out of it, because it's not there in the game mode itself.
And we point to 2K and we envy them because they have like the whole entire My Play storyline by Spike Lee. But I think that's a double-edged sword as well, because if you think about it, everybody's My Player is going to be the same then, if there's actually a set storyline. Unless there's like actual like branching storylines, which I don't think you could pay Spike Lee, or I don't know who would write the football version, Danny Boyle or whoever, like whoever would write the yeah, I mean, it would be really good. I played the shit out of that, but it would kind of limit the growth. I think, like, yeah, we should be looking within our, like, we can make excuses, but at the end of the day, like, he's the godfather. He's the one who innovated and put this out on YouTube. At the same time, it's like, he's kind of, I can see his perspective, because he's kind of stuck in, this is what people know him for. He can't really be experimenting. He has a lot more to risk, per se, than us. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's his livelihood. If he messes with his format too much, he could fuck it all up. Like, he just bought a new house, he's got a nice bike. Like, I can understand that for him to innovate is a lot more risky and scary than it is for us, I would say. But you have to. It's you innovate or you die. And he said it himself in his video that if you haven't changed all that much in 2 years, then it's gonna get kind of stale. Like anything, after 2 years, if it's exactly the same, you're gonna kind of get tired of watching. And I'm sorry to say it, but there's way more competition on the career mode market than than there was 2 years ago. So yeah, so he has to kind of innovate, or basically, or I guess get a new job with EA, but not in Vancouver. Yeah. Okay. I think we pretty much touched everything that we're gonna touch on this one. Wait, hold on. Let me see if I have anything else. But I have one more topic. I'm sorry, right here. He says that career modes are burning out faster, and that YouTube career mode YouTubers might be a thing of the past if it keeps on continuing this trend. Have you guys felt, Jack? Have you felt that that interest on career mode or the views or whatnot, or the subs have been dying faster since the years you've been on YouTube?
I don't know really. I'd say it's improved, but that's because before I just wasn't getting that far with my views or my subs per month or anything like that. But I didn't know anything different, so I'm sort of seeing a bit of an improvement now. I mean, to have gained, I don't know, this might not be a lot in context of everyone else, but I've gained almost 3,000 subscribers since the start of this. Since the start of this FIFA cycle. So for me, that's a lot because what I do is quite niche. But I have noticed it dying off. I mean, I wouldn't expect it to die off in April. I would expect it maybe June or July or something like that, sort of near to the end of the cycle. But I don't know really.
Tyler, how do you feel? Do you think that FIFA's dying off a little? The cycle's being shorter and shorter every year?
Well, like MGH said, if it's going to be the same game mode every single year, why would people want to stick around and watch the same thing day on day with literally no change at all? Like, they're not making any changes. They're not making any steps to make changes. So people are kind of just getting bored. And on top of that, I think this generation is kind of just like they have really low attention spans. So they can only handle things for so long until they get really bored of it and just move on to something else. And that's why series kind of don't last as long nowadays on YouTube. Like, when's the last time you saw a career mode on YouTube last more than 5 seasons from a bigger YouTuber like Docs and then Docs. Sam, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I totally agree. Rich, do you feel like it's been dying out a little bit quicker?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to really, on a personal basis, it's hard to say because obviously I've only been doing it for less than 2 years, and my channel's growing all the time, so it's difficult to really tell.
Way to humble brag there, Rich. What do you got?
Well, we're all growing all the time, you know what I mean.
No, but I'm dying right now.
I think Tyler's still growing because he's 12.
On a personal level, I mean, the only career modes that I really enjoy watching regularly are the Youth Squad Legends ones where they do innovate. So yeah, I guess for me as well, like, career mode has become a bit stale, and I personally enjoy watching the people that are doing something different. So
and to be fair to MGH, there have been other people complaining. Ches, Channy, Docs, all of them have been complaining that it's harder to get the views than it was, and the CPM is lower than it was even a couple years ago. So to that point, yeah, it's tough, but we need to find ways to innovate. And as I said, on the people that I had on a couple of podcasts ago, like the people in the YSL community, they're finding new ways to play the game. They're new and interesting, but I think they run into kind of the same issues that you lads in the RTG community kind of run into, in that, like, it's harder to find a large market to kind of cater to the RTG. Now, for those who don't know what an RTG is, Jack, can you enlighten the people?
Well, the way that I see a Road to Glory, other people see it a little bit differently, and sometimes that kind of annoys me. But,
we'll get into that later.
Yeah, we'll get into that later. So for me, having a Road to Glory is just starting from the bottom of a country's leagues, I guess. So for England, it would be like Football League 2, maybe Football League 1. Starting from the ground up and sort of building up and sort of building on what you already have and progressing throughout the leagues and becoming better over time, and turning players that are already at the club, if possible, into sort of legends that stay at the club and sort of go on to win the Premier League with them and Champions League.
Yes, so it's we don't like to admit it, but we play career mode for progression. I think we've kind of all run into this. And if you want the maximum amount of progression, you start at the bottom. And we're talking the bottom. And then it's a lot of fun to go all the way through. And then you feel more accomplished, I guess, than if you were to start it with, like, you know, like a Manchester United or whatnot. Now, Jack, you alluded to this a little bit earlier. What annoys you about the RTG tag and the misuse of it?
Well, it's...
Say names.
The one
shots.
No, I'm not going to say names. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it on the lowdown. So, the one thing that annoys me more than anything is people that are starting a career mode. Let's say in the bottom half of the Premier League. Let's just say, for an example, Aston Villa. No one's done this, but as an example, Aston Villa, the shittest team in the Premier League. If someone was to do that and call it a Road to Glory, that is not a Road to Glory. It's just not.
Why is that not a Road to Glory?
Because you're already in the top division. There's no sense of promotion and progression. Like I say, that's really important for it to be a Road to Glory. And if there isn't that sense of being promoted and slowly getting better, because you're already in the Premier League, there's no sort of progressing up the lower leagues. it just doesn't work for me. It doesn't work.
And so, but then, what is your cutoff? Could you be in the championship and do a Road to Glory, League 2, and then what about like a Bundesliga? You know, like a second division in the Bundesliga, or
Oh no, second division Bundesliga. I'd definitely, you know, what Tranny's doing with 1860 Munich.
Mm-hmm.
You know what he's done in the second Bundesliga. I'd definitely say that's that's definitely a road to glory because he's starting from the bottom and he's building up. You know, he's been promoted. It's a little bit different with the English leagues because obviously there's more of them. So it's harder to really categorize them in terms of the other leagues.
So I say we standardize it. I think you just voiced it right there. We standardize RTG. To be a true RTG, you need to start at the bottom or the lowest level possible.
Of a country's league.
Yeah, of the country's league. Yeah, and then anything else would be what is it? Like not really a sprint to glory. That's Channy's thing. Like what would you classify like a championship or a League 1?
Yeah, what would you classify my career mode, Jack?
Yeah.
Well, no. I'd say League 1. League 1. I could let that go maybe.
Okay.
No, but League 1. No, because that's still got a sense of progression. But it's hard. It's really hard to say. It's just me being really pedantic and picky, pretty much. But that's just how I view it, to be honest.
Rich or Tyler, do you guys have any qualms with calling maybe like a championship side a road to glory or anything?
I'm with Jack, to be honest. I feel like you have to start at the bottom and work your way up to the top. So championship, it's a bit too high up the system, really. You skipped 2 divisions there, and it's only 1 promotion that you've got to get, and then you hit the big time. So I don't think that's really enough progression to be a real road to glory.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It's just lazy.
Now that we've explained what a road to glory is, a lot of people might be saying, you know, like, well, why would I start all the way at the bottom? It seems like it'll take freaking forever. There's none of the players that I like. I just want to play with my favorite team. And for that, a guy that's gotten big by doing big teams, but I might be speaking too much for you, Rich, that you probably enjoy playing Road to Glory more. What's the difference between playing with, say, like a big team and a Road to Glory team?
Yeah, I mean, for me, obviously, when you start a Road to Glory team, you could kind of, you have your sort of favourite players, and you can work your way up through the leagues with those players, and you get a real feel for them. Whereas with a big team, you have to instantly get a feel for all the players and win the league straight away, basically. Whereas with a smaller team, you can learn the players more and get better with those players, basically, rather than having to have instant success.
You could actually get to know people.
I think it helps this year with the training as well, because on previous years, you could argue that it would have been a little bit harder to sort of have those original players from the original rosters of the team and sort of build them up. But now you've got the training and you can sort of develop them a lot faster and
create your own superstars. Really, anyone you want to be
exactly
a top player, you can train them up and make them a top player.
Yes,
Whereas in the past,
yeah.
In the past you could only grow players like 5 ratings per season or something. And if they were rubbish, they were going to stay rubbish forever, basically.
Yeah, but that is the allure, is playing with players kind of like the YSL guys that maybe don't get the real shine, and like, yeah, you could buy like, you know, the Julian Brandts and the Zachary Bakalis of the world, but really, if you're on a big team, that guy's really never really going to develop in time. By the time he's developed into like a world-class player, he's like you've won the league like 4 times. You know what I'm saying? Well, as in like a Road to Glory, if you can play with those good youngsters, the Reece Oxfords, the Fosu-Mensahs, the Rashfords, because like you're playing against competition that is equal to you. You know, you're playing against 70 rated players, 65 rated players, and by the time you reach into the Premier League, you feel like you have grown and progressed with these players as well. Tyler, what do you feel is like the big allure of playing with an RTG?
I think it's kind of like last year. It wasn't necessarily a road to glory in Jack's terms or Rich's terms, I guess, but I did a series with Fulham, and I went up to the Premier League and won the Champions League eventually, and I had a cult hero on my team, Entep, who this year is just a beast. Last year he wasn't signed as much, but he basically was my channel. People would sub to me because of how good Entep was in my series. Like, he ended up being like 85 rated with like 98 pace or something like that, something ridiculous. And that's kind of the allure of Road to Glories, is that you can just take players that aren't really known at the time and just build them up into absolute superstars. Like, it's like what Cutsy did with Rosenberg, for example, or Piscopo in his youth squad things. You can do them with real players as well that don't necessarily have the highest of potentials. You can train them up, make them just better players, and just turn them into club legends, which is kind of the better side of Road to Glories. Like in regular career modes, you get the same comments every single time. Sign Embolo, sign Cherney, sign bigger players as well, Neymar, Ronaldo, Messi. Whereas in Road to Glories, you can kind of have your pick of like 300 players, more than that even, and build them up into club legends. Yeah. Whereas in bigger teams, you're kind of just stuck with the set like 50 that everyone signs.
Yeah, I totally get you on that one. And I lost my train of thought right there. But I think the biggest thing that, at least last year anyway, before they installed 2-year loans, the biggest thing is challenge. Like, do you really want to be challenged in your career mode playthrough? Because if you play with a big team, depending on how good you are at the game, you're probably going to be able to win the Champions League in 1 to 2 years. Even a mediocre team, you could probably win the championship with anyone who's in, the top division. I think all of us, if we took Aston Villa, we could probably win or get close to winning the Champions League in the next season, just because you could buy their budget, even Aston Villa's budget or Bournemouth's budget, like, has a large enough budget that you could buy a couple of good youngsters that will grow relatively quickly and give you the assets that you need to go ahead and win those games. While if you're starting in the 4th division of the English League and your budget is sometimes as bad as 200k.
Total? Yeah, I've had that before.
Oh
yeah,
my,
200k.
Yeah,
like 1k on the wages. Struggle.
That is the ultimate mountain to climb. It is absolutely punishing. And before they installed the 2-year loans is a goddamn godsend this year, because it made it infinitely easier. But like last year, you
can't sign the players at the end of it because it doesn't work.
Oh, you can't?
If you have a future fee, the game is broken and they still haven't fixed it, and you can't actually ever sign them.
Wait, ever sign them?
No.
That's why I never did it.
Oh, so...
Because I heard so much about that, I just
and they still haven't fixed it. I tried it. Someone told me about it the other week. I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. And I thought they would have fixed it by now, but I stemmed to the end of the season to see if I could sign my player that I've got on a 2-year loan, and nope, it's still broken.
Is the 1-year loan broken as well?
I'm not sure. But
I don't think it is. Because I did a 1-year loan with a player, and the future fee did work. I did it with Matty Grimes, I think it was, and that seemed to work. But I was told quite a lot of times that I shouldn't go with the 2-year loan deal because there was an issue with that.
Well, there you go. 2-year. Don't do the 2-year loan. Also, a pro tip that I got from the YSL guys: don't train your players more than once a month, because...
Oh, it messes with their physicals, yeah.
Yeah, you can stunt a person's physical growth if you train them more than once a month. And even I was spoken with Bama Striker, and he was talking about you shouldn't even train them once, because it's honestly unpredictable. You could just all of a sudden just stunt a person's physicals out of nowhere.
Yeah.
As opposed to, but I mean, there are certain players that you should train, like goalkeepers. That's what you should do. You should just have a
train up goalkeepers.
Yeah, just have a stable of goalkeepers to just be training them nonstop, because they don't really need any. They don't really grow in the physicals, really.
Well, even if you train them, they seem to grow physically anyway.
Goalkeepers' growth still grows massively physically.
Oh, really?
If you train them all the time.
Okay, so that's our pro tip in any career mode. This is Road to Glory, YSL, or normal. Just train up. Just buy a harem of goalkeepers and just train them up. Don't train anybody else. But it also helps. I was talking with, with Flickify Jason the other day, and he says that it is kind of intelligent. Let's say you have a player that has very high physicals already, like a Leon Bailey or like a Rashford or a Montiel. If they already have good enough physicals for you to work with, then you can go ahead and train them up and everything. It's mostly speed and strength, because you can train up their stamina and their agility. So as long as they have pretty good acceleration and pace and decent strength, you can probably go ahead and target those players. But the thing about it, well, that's great. I actually like that you can't do the 2-year loans now, because it makes it more of a challenge. That's what I personally love about Road to Glory is that it's so much more rewarding than when you win the Champions League like Luton Town or Swindon Town, like it's so much more rewarding than if you win it with a Manchester United or a Real Madrid. It really is. Like, you take it for granted, and your budgets are so high that it's too easy, and you really do grow an attachment with the players. Like, if I have a personal attachment with like Ander Herrera, but if I sold him, it would kind of hurt. But selling that player that helped you get to the next division, that's like honestly heartbreaking.
Poor Anyang Kwan.
Oh, or Anyang Kwang, what a legend. And that's the other thing, is that it forces you, if you're doing a Road to Glory, usually, is there were legends in the free agents, because you just didn't have the budget, so you could only sign people on free agents. Like, last year, everybody signed Lee Kun-ho, the Korean striker. Rich, you didn't sign Lee Kun-ho?
I didn't sign him, no. I was aware of him, but I never signed him.
What a
I signed
legend.
Raute, another Indian legend. Like, there was quite a few free agents that were decent. Raute had like 4-star skills and incredible pace. His stats looked bad other than his pace, but FIFA 15 was all about pace, and he was amazing.
Yeah, Jack, but you know about the Lee Kun-ho. Jack?
No, I don't.
What?
No, I don't.
You never used Lee Kun-ho?
No.
Am I the only one who used?
I mean, I think I've seen you like sign him in your streams or something before, but I've never used him personally. No.
He was incredible. Like, he had really good pace, actually decent strength, absolute shit finishing, but really good agility on the ball. And as you said, FIFA 15 was just all about that pace.
Yeah.
So
there's loads of Indian players that had loads of pace, so those are the ones that I signed up.
Jackie Chan Singh.
Oh yeah, Jackie Chan Singh.
Jackie Chan Singh
this year. But while we're like the free agent, we're gonna talk about like the great thing is when you're playing these Road to Glory, not only do you actually get to sign those young, superstars that will eventually, grow into those superstars, but you get to sign kind of more hidden gems or people that are kind of personalized to you. So I'm asking you guys, like, what were some of the hidden gems that you could have been on your team that you signed off for free agency, or kind of like those generated players? Like, every single year after the first season, I think, like, you scour, I know for me anyway, I would scour the freaking free agents for like 16 to like 19 to see if you could find like a gem somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Tyler, do you have any, like, well, you already spoke about like NTEP, but did you ever like use any like free agents or look for free agents?
Well, on my time when I did Rangers last year, it only was a season and a half that I did. I didn't get to finish it, but I signed Jordan Morris when he was at Stanford, and they put him in the game accidentally when they shouldn't have, because it was against NCAA rules. But they put him in the game, and he was a free agent, so I signed him from the beginning, and he was top goal scorer first season in League Two. Second season, he was on fire as well. I called him the fire emoji. And he was just ridiculous. Like, as a free agent, he was ridiculous. And then on top of that, I'd say someone that I went for that wasn't necessarily like high potential or anything was Trippy Makonda, because he had a real face, former PSG left back that could play center mid, and he was probably one of my best players in my team as well. Like, he could play anywhere I needed him to. He took pretty much all my set pieces. It was just, I don't know, amazing for what his potential and what his overall rating was.
Clear American bias. Rich.
Oh yeah, totally.
Rich, what were some of the free agent, or kind of like hidden gems that you have been able to find?
Last year, David Jigler was the star. He was a glitch player, and he was just absolutely incredible. Like, his physicals were ridiculous, and I think his glitch potential was like in the 90s, and he was just the best player in the game, basically.
So explain to people who might not understand what is it's a little bit self-explanatory, but a glitch player and how you can get a true glitch player.
Well, every year there's certain players in the game that can be glitched in a career mode, as in their potential will be a lot higher than it should be. Say the game, it should be 65, it'll actually be 85, and then if they're on a CPU controlled team, they will just grow massively every May. Or if you don't sign them for a couple of seasons though, because they won't grow as fast if you sign them. So it's best to wait a couple of seasons in and then look for them. There are players. If you look on Reddit, there's a list of all the players that could be glitched. So a couple of seasons into the game, have a look on Reddit and then go through your career mode and see if those players are glitched or if they are a lot better than they should be, and sign them up.
Yeah, I think Jack has a glitch player on his team right now at Wimbledon.
Oh, he's got rid of him, haven't you, Jack?
Yeah, I got rid of him to Marseille, actually, for like 28 million or something. It was ridiculous.
Tyler, why did you accept that deal?
I don't know, man. I just wanted to help Jack out, okay? He
He was worth like 12 million. He was 80 something rated. He was actually average. Like, I was really disappointed, but it's a good thing to know as well is that the glitch players, they're always different in every save. So there's always going to be a different pattern of glitch players. So they're not always going to be the same in every save, which is why it's important to like individually scout them just to be on the safe side. But no, Leigh Lucas, again, he was a player that had incredible physical stats, but it's a shame. I wish I could have utilised like glitch players previous years because I just didn't really touch them, to be honest. But they can be really good if they play well.
Yeah.
I think Oberton's glitched this year as well, so he can actually be a
God.
good player.
God.
Finally fulfill his potential.
Yeah.
Any good.
But yeah, I mean that's we were talking about like, oh, you know, like there's not a lot of variety, not much has changed in like career mode. But that's like a thing, like glitch players, even though it's unintentional, that's a new wrinkle that is different for everybody's save, which I think is like if we're going to say all that stuff, that's something that's new and different and that it can actually bring something new to the scene. For me, I always liked, speaking of variety, is they randomly generate like those players with like, just the CPU face or whatever they were in it. And then they give them like different names, and they're always just like rookies that are randomly generated. Sometimes they're this is how Regens also show up, but sometimes you just find like at the beginning I would just scour 19 through 16 free agents and just try to sign these like little hidden gems, like for my Luton Town Pirates and Vikings career mode last season. Like our best player that I got on that team was probably he was like a 6'6" German center back that had like 70 pace and like 80 strength, like right off of the bat. And he just became absolutely unstoppable. Like there was nothing, it was like, I just put him as a center back in there. If anything came in, he was like, nah, I got this. I think no headers were ever scored if the ball was anywhere near him. He won everything, in an absolute beast. And then my personal favorite was a British guy. Was a British guy who had like a white guy face and lovely blonde hair and blue eyes, but his last name was Boateng. So,
oh my god!
And he had amazing pace and agility, and I called him the Boateng from another mother the whole entire series, and he became a legend for me just because he was such a ridiculous guy. I was like, ah, yes, I found the third long lost Boateng brother, and there, and he just happens to be British. And like that, those are amazing things that you'll just never find in like almost like a regular career mode. You know what I'm saying? Like, you play with Manchester United, you're never going to find the third Boateng brother, or why would you side him? People would just yell at you, it's unrealistic. I was like, it's not my fault. They made him British and white, and they named him Boateng. Like, that shit happened, man. And it's just, and then, like, this year, there's the free agent called Anyang Kwan, which is a Chinese...
What a legend.
Yeah, Chinese 5-star... Is he 5-star, 5-star?
5-star skills. I don't know if he has 5-star weak foot, but I think he's close.
Yeah, I think he's like 4-star. He's a 5-star, 5-star. He's a free agent. He doesn't have a high potential. He's, I think, 65, and he's reached his max potential of 65. But he's got 5-star, 5-star skills. He's got decent pace, and he's got 1 balance. I'm not kidding you. His stat is 1 balance, and it's 1 attack positioning. And
you think they would have taken him out of the game by now if it was a
right?
mistake? But it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's just like, it's clearly a mistake, but they left him at 1. They left him at 1 attack positioning and 1 balance for at least 2 months now, and at 5-star, 5-star skills. And he is incredible. I recommend anybody who does a Road to Glory absolutely sign this kid, because I found a hidden tactic while playing with him on stream. Is you just put him on the wing, you cut inside, and then you just do skill moves in the box. Anybody who even blows on him, that 1 balance, he goes, ah! And then he just falls over.
Penalties.
And you have penalties for days. It's not the most realistic thing, but it's just, it's in the game. They left him in the game. He's an actual... I don't know if... he can't be a real player. I don't think there's an actual...
I looked him up and I didn't see anything on him.
Yeah.
I looked him up as well. But...
It's so disappointing, but he's an instant legend. And those are my personal, like, legends. There's even current like legends now, but there are, as Rich alluded to, there are plenty of like great Indian players this year. I'm guessing there's a lot of Indian and Chinese players since I get those leagues aren't in the game.
Yeah, but their national team is.
Yeah, so you'll get like a handful of them that are actually rather decent. There's also a guy named what's it? His last name's Yang, and I called him Penis Head because
Yes.
look up.
And that guy in Flick's stream got really mad at you and told him to end the call with Penis Head call.
Tyler, can you look him up to get his full name? Because there's personal enjoyment, ladies and gentlemen, with playing with a player that has a profile picture that looks like a penis head. Because you get to yell penis head every time. He's like a big target man, and if you can cross the ball into him every single time, you just yell penis every single time it goes toward him. It's incredible. But it's also the enjoyment of being able to play with like certain players that you just couldn't get away with playing in like a regular career mode. Like for Jack had so much fun with Wimbledon because he gets to play with Akinafinwa like the whole entire time.
Man.
Jack,
He retired before I got to the Premier League. It was just so sad. I wanted him. That was the whole point of it. I just wanted to get him to the Premier League. Just get him promoted up to the Premier League. That just would have been the best thing ever.
You managed to
Not
get his
for me,
real life
though.
regen though.
Yeah, I know. He was awful.
Yeah.
wait,
Terrible.
talk about like regens are a really big thing in the RTG like scene. Like what are regens? What are pregens? Jack, do you want to talk about what a pregen is?
Yeah, so a pregen is basically it's kind of weird, but basically if you
Wait,
can
hold on,
imagine that there's
the legend that is
my
Penis
God.
Head.
Penis Head!
I can't make this up.
it's brilliant.
Yeah, but Jack.
But if you can imagine that there's a player that's already in the game, so usually with a regen it will be a player that's already retired and then a new player that's sort of like a youth player, I guess, that's generated into the game that is then sort of acting as that sort of player that has retired and is no longer in the game. Basically, a pregen is it's kind of weird because it's sort of like with the glitch players. I noticed that it happens to different players in every career mode. So in my Wimbledon save, I think it happened to just really random players like Bojan. So basically, it would be a random youth player that's just coming in that has exactly the same sort of style of stats and positions and skill moves and weak foot, but obviously the player is still in the game that he's based off, so that's why they call it a pregen, because it's before the actual regen is put into the game before they retire.
Wait, that's weird.
It's kind of confusing to sort of say.
I think Tim got
explain.
Messi's pregen in his Milan save with
They did the nuts.
the
So
Nazi.
lucky.
The Nazi, yeah.
Wait, so like it regenerated into his game or like his team, or was it like
No, like
No,
he
he brought him
got
in from
signed to a
Barcelona.
random, La
Yeah.
Liga team.
And they sometimes
I bel-
is that new? Like
Right.
they didn't have this in 15, did they?
Oh, I don't know. I think they did, but I think with Tim's example of Messi's pregen, I think he was actually at Barcelona.
Yeah, he
So
was.
unlike with the regens that are assigned to random clubs, it seems like they're sort of assigned to the same club as the player that's still at that team. So
Yeah,
with
I
the,
saw it with Ricardo Rodriguez as well. His pre-gen was actually, he had the surname Rodriguez as well. So it was quite random, but yeah.
Yeah,
he
I
was
found-
at Wolfsburg as well.
yeah, because I found that with this Leeds player as well. In fact, I think there's 3 players in my save at the moment that have the same name. And I don't know if they're all pre-gens. I don't even know. One of them has the same position. It's Romain Sawyers, I think. I think he plays for like Warsaw currently. But he moved to Leeds. And then all of a sudden, these 2 players with exactly the same name were generated into the game. And it was just, it's just crazy. It just hurt my brain so much. I
This
just
is
couldn't
why Road
understand
to
it.
Glories are the best career modes on YouTube.
Yeah.
And you get to
Preach,
sign Kemal
preach.
Roof, so
Yeah, your boy, Rich.
the best player in world football.
I mean, not just on YouTube. It's the best off of YouTube. Like
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
just more fun. Let's be honest. It's more fun.
Yeah.
That's why I play it, yeah.
It's more rewarding to play with the Road to Glory team, even in the championship. Even if Jack thinks you're not a true Road to Glorious, like try out a team that has a budget under 2 million, and try to raise them up and like get into win the champion. Like, it's going to be so much more satisfying than...
Because even if you're taking on like a mid-level, top-level team, then after a couple of seasons, you're going to be signing the best players anyway. Whereas with a Road to Glory series, there is that developmental stage where you get to try out different players that you wouldn't usually play with. And with any team at the top level, you're not going to get that.
And I want to stress this, because we haven't really spoken about it. There is something special. And I mean this in... The players are special. The players that you play against in League 2 are a special kind of special.
Terrible.
There is shit that will happen in League 2 and the Championship and below that just won't happen if you play in the higher leagues. If you're playing against players that are in the 70s and the 80s consistently, and then you start playing against players that are in the 55s and the 65s, shit goes awry, man.
Having said that though, when I was in League 2, I've had some crazy goals scored against me that just never happened in the Premier League. It's unbelievable. Like 40-yard bangers right into the top corner.
That's because the goalkeepers are all so terrible.
Goalkeepers are shit.
Yeah, they're just terrible when it comes to that.
I basically shoot from anywhere in my Road to Glory because half the time it goes in because the goalkeeper is just not going to stop it. I've scored so many amazing goals for Oxford that I just wouldn't score against quality goalkeepers, basically.
Yeah, and I remember that was probably the hardest thing in my Road to Glory was finding a good goalkeeper and actually like keeping him. That was like the toughest thing. But just some of the shots and some of the chips and some of the long shots that you could pull off, and just some of the derpiness that will just happen, just like the own goals that your defense as well as the other defense like give up, and through balls that they just like stare at it as it runs right past their legs.
And the players just need to run into each other so often. What are you doing? Communicate.
Yeah, it is. I would say it is also, it makes you appreciate like the world-class players. It makes you appreciate playing with like the Messis and the Iniestas, because especially in this year where like first touch is like so important and passing so important, when you play with that like 65 rated like midfielder, it's like I can't complete 2 passes in a row. I just can't do it. I mean, the other team...
It just takes more patience.
Yeah.
You just got to be more patient in the build-up. It's not just like, bang, press Y and that's it, I'm through on goal.
Yeah.
It's a lot more patient now.
I mean, like, to be fair, the other team can't complete more than 3 passes in a row either, but it's still...
No, they turn into Barcelona and complete like 15 in a row.
Yeah.
On the back end?
They're always such heavy passes as well that you wouldn't be able to control ever.
Yeah, like, every single time they do, like, a driven A-pass, like...
And they just instantly control it. It's like, what? I can't do that.
Yeah, that is quite maddening, but... Yeah, there's just different game. It's a different game. It really, if people like MGH or if you feel like the way that MGH is that like Road to Glories normal career modes are getting stale, that there hasn't been much development in this year, in the past couple of years, then try Road to Glory, because it really it made me re-fall in love with career mode. Like, it was getting stale for me, too. I've been playing it for, I don't know, like 4 to 5 years, and it was just like, there's only so much I could do. And then playing a Road to Glory was like, oh my god, like, it's so much... There's so much more progression, there's just so much more rewardingness, like, that's not a word, at the very end when you actually are able to conquer everyone. Especially if you can still conquer them with, like, your team is only with, like, 70 or 80 rated players. Like, you don't need the world-class players, but you've grown attached to them, you've grown such a good chemistry with those players, you know their strengths and their weaknesses so well that, like... And they have, like, storylines with it that when you do reach the top of that mountain, it's just so much sweeter. So yeah, that is my spiel on Road to Glory. Do you guys have any more hidden gems or great stories from your RTGs?
Oh my god, FIFA 14. That was just unbelievable. That was just when headers were overpowered.
I hated FIFA 14 for
FIFA
that
14
reason.
is the worst FIFA ever made, Jack.
Cross into the box, header, goal, great.
It made a legend though. I mean, Ryan Brunt, he was just the best striker ever, because
More like
he
Brian
had
Good one.
wow.
I'm proud of that one.
But continue.
You shouldn't
Anyway,
be.
carry on.
Oh my god. Right, where was I? So yeah. So yeah, because heading was just so easy and just so direct, it meant that I could just keep this one player, even though it said he had like the shittest finishing ever, like something like 60 odd finishing, but his heading accuracy developed so much. It was like in the 80s that it just didn't matter because you just cross it in and that'll be it. And I just remember that so fondly. I want to go back to that career mode actually. That Bristol Rovers save.
Stay there. FIFA 14 sucks. You can be the only one to play it for all I care.
Such a bad game.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah, it was pretty terrible, to be honest. Especially after how good FIFA 13 was. It was just a massive disappointment.
Second favorite FIFA of all time.
Definitely.
But it gives you, but yeah, this is what Road to Glory's offer is, just new gameplay. It's shittier gameplay, but it is amazing at times. It's a double-edged sword. It allows you to play with players that are singular to you. Like, that player will never exist in anybody else's save, most likely. And to basically develop storylines and to use players that you couldn't use before. And especially with, I mean, I personally think that the biggest upgrade to career mode in like the past like 5 years happened last season, because we kind of forget and we kind of take it for granted. Nobody gives EA this pat on the back, but last year was the first year where they started doing weekly or bi-weekly updates to the roster. Before that time, it was you got release, you got it post-release after, you know, like there was that post-release patch where they get all the transfers updated, and then they had the winter, they had the January patch where they patched all the January transfers, and that was it for the whole entire year until FIFA 15. They started coming out with new players. New players get added to the game. We saw the hype with Odegaard. We saw the hype with Mastour last year. And then this year, Rashford getting huge upgrades and Donnarumma. Like, that's a huge, huge thing. You know what I'm saying? That we just don't give EA credit. So I'm going to give a little bit of golf clap to EA. Well done on adding that, because that actually adds a lot of life to the career mode community. You get to do player reviews on it, on these new players. You get to use new players, especially in your Road to Glories, like using a Rashford now or Fosu-Mensah. What their upgraded potential is going to be totally different than it was like at the start of the season. So you can constantly, like, if you're saying that, like, yeah, the gameplay is a little bit stale. If you don't like the gameplay, that's not really going to solve that issue. But if you want to play with like new players and whatnot and have new challenges, it's a brand new spanking way to do it. So I suggest that you go ahead and check out everybody's channels that's doing it right here. Also, by the way, go ahead and click on any of their faces at any time. Click on anywhere within the borders, and you'll be instantly transported to their channels. Go ahead and subscribe to all of them. But with that,
B, to interrupt your point about people, them updating the players, Jesus, in the gameplay every like week or bi-weekly. Jesus,
I didn't know a 12-year-old had a stroke.
Shut up. That was the same with Jordan Morris last year. Like, he was only in the game for like a week or two, and I happened to start my series like within that time frame, and after that people were like, how'd you get Jordan Morris? How's Jordan Morris in your save? And that's kind of what makes that kind of updates interesting, is because I have a player that someone else can't have in their series, like you were saying.
Yeah, and I remember for a week last year, Henry and Donovan were added to just for the MLS All-Star game. Yeah, so for that, yeah, you could use those old players, but the bigger thing was that since they're in the game, they would retire and you could get their regens the next season. So it was really cool. It's like, oh my god, you could have a Henry or Landon Donovan. I mean, Rich doesn't care about Landon Donovan, but like, but for me and Tyler, like, that was like a pretty cool thing. And yeah, and usually you see it all the time on like regular career modes. Like, oh, I got the regen of Gerard, or I got the regen of so and so of Lampard. Like, we know it's like you're never gonna use that guy, especially if you're on like a higher rated team. Like, that guy's just not gonna progress fast enough for you to be able to use him within the next 3 to 4 seasons. Wow.
Like, we can look at it from your career mode as well. Like, you just barely started using Renato Sanchez, and in like a series like mine, like Swindon, I could easily use him straight away.
Exactly.
100%.
Yeah. And then like,
but you wouldn't be able to
good
afford it
ever
anyway.
go to Swindon though.
Please, Swindon be Winden, pal. Swindon be Winden.
Yeah. But yeah, that's exactly the point that we've been harping on. It's just like, yeah, like you hear all the time, in the past, like, sign Bakali, sign Mbolo. Mbolo you could probably use in the first team, but like sign what is like the people of the past that were like super low rated but had like the really high potentials, like maybe like a Sanabria this
Bizarre.
year, or who?
Bizarre last year started out really
Yeah,
low
Bizarre.
rated, but amazing potential.
Yeah.
They just
Tielemans
never
used
would
to
have
be
reached
low
that
rated.
potential.
Yeah, like the Tielemans back in the day, of just those players that are like 65 rated but have like amazing overall potentials. Like, you're just never going to be really able to integrate them into your club and use them regularly if you're playing in the top division. While as you finally can use them and grow them properly while you're in the lower divisions. But with that, do you guys have anything else to talk about the RTGs? Why it's so great? Any more lovely stories?
You said at the end there about the players and not being able to integrate them, but I remember that Newport County player. I always forget his name, but that
Aiden
one week
O'Kelly.
he had like 98. Yeah, there you go. He had like 98 potential. I mean, he was like 45 overall or something, but I just would have loved to have got him to 98. That just would have been awesome.
Oh, that was like he was like
Like this year.
that was a mistake, right? It was a glitch for like
Yeah, that was
4
last
weeks.
year,
They
I
didn't
think,
mean
yeah.
to put him in with that higher potential, but they did.
But if it was in FIFA 15, like I said before, like players could only grow by like 5 ratings per season, so you never
You probably
really
wouldn't get there at all.
Wouldn't get anywhere near his potential. You play 15 seasons, so you probably still wouldn't reach his potential.
It'd be like 60, and it's like, oh, I'm retiring now.
You've come a long way, though. we appreciate your time and effort. But with that, let's go ahead and conclude that portion of this. And we're going to wrap it up. We're going to go ahead and bring it home with our favorite section. And we have the king, guys. We have the fucking king of the worst comment section. We talk about it all the time in our group chat. We kind of like sparse out our like, oh, I got this shitty comment. Let's laugh at it right here. But Rich freaking Leigh is the master of the shitty comment. He has the worst comment section of us all. So we'll hold him for last. Jack, you can go ahead and lead us off with the worst comment that you have received.
Good idea, because I have the worst comment.
You're too nice.
basic-
You're too fucking nice is the issue.
I know,
Yeah.
I know.
You can go drop one on your channel right now if you want.
Yeah, please, I can
I'm
use
gonna
that.
do the
now.
same.
We'll go for it.
So this one, I don't even know why. It just sort of annoyed me, mainly because of like the grammar and stuff. And it said, "I hate you," and shit at FIFA. Stop your. He spelt channel wrong, and he spelt it canal now. And then at the end he said also by Vardy and Chilwell. And this was my Real Madrid save. By the
Oh
way.
my god.
Yeah, I got told to sign Vardy a lot in my Bayern save.
Like, Jesus. I mean, that's not even a bad comment, but that just really did piss me off a lot. Like, just for the wrong reasons.
That was pretty bad, to be fair. Tyler, you wanna hit us up with the...
I'm going back to my 100 subs days, and so this first comment, I signed Jordan Shaqiri for Lyon, and it was season 2. And this guy comments, Shaqiri is actually pronounced Shaqiri, but in the video I was pronouncing it Shaqiri because that's actually technically how it's supposed to be pronounced. And he said Shaqiri is supposed to be pronounced Shaqiri, and I said it's actually an Albanian name, and if it's pronounced correctly, this is how it's supposed to be pronounced.
Irony. Yeah.
And so I put it in. I left a link to someone from that place pronouncing his name correctly, and he goes, "No, he's from Switzerland." And you're an American down, so you can't utilize the English language. And so I said, actually, it's an Albanian name. He can still have an Albanian name, even though he's from Switzerland. And then he said, shut up, your pronunciation is shit because you're American and your videos are so bad, haha. And then I left another link to that same pronunciation again. And then he said, an average American like you probably has 50% less brain cells than a British person. British spelled with 2 T's. Now shut up, fuck off, period, as you retards would say.
Oh.
Fantastic.
I mean, what he said there at the end is technically true. I mean,
the 50% more brain cells.
Can't even spell British correctly, or Switzerland, or
Hey man, Switzerland.
or American, or anything like that, but he's apparently a lot smarter.
Oh, he is. He is. I mean, us dumb Americans, what do we freaking know? But for mine, the other day, I got this rather recently. This one cut deep. Was I recently finished season 2 of my Manchester United career mode, which I'm absolutely loving and adoring, not because of the views, but just because it's been absolutely a lot more fun than I would have think, like actually playing with. This is the first time I've ever used Lionel Messi in a career mode and all that. I felt like I've come a long way, like being on YouTube. I feel like I look back at my first videos and I cringe. For guys who don't know, my first career mode on here was called the Asian Invasion career mode in FIFA 14, where I only played with Asian players. So I've come a long way, and like editing and commentary, like I feel like this is like 2 years in the making. It was I personally feel like an amazing like finale for 2 seasons. Everything was on the line in a treble, and every single game went down to the wire, and it was just like so much drama in it. I couldn't write a better script. I edited the shit out of it. It took like hours and hours, and I was like, yeah, this is I'm really proud of this. This is really great. I released it, and then within an hour of it being out, it was mostly good comments, but then this one dropped on me right here, where it said, Jamie Reed says, I'm sorry to unsubscribe, but I don't like where the channel is going and where it has come. I love the FIFA 14 career modes, but I'm not enjoying the content anymore. Why would you drop this on the season finale? Why would you drop this on the season finale of the freaking... I don't get it. I was like, So yeah, whenever you feel like you're doing a good job, just remember that someone out there thinks you're shit. So yeah, that was just my pride and my foot in my mouth moment there. I was like, yeah, I've done it. I think I'm pretty good at this career mode thing. It was like, nah, you were better in FIFA 14. You're doing Asia career modes. But Rich, go ahead.
Okay, well, this isn't the worst comment I've ever received, but it's probably the most hilarious one in my opinion, just because of the insult that they used against me. But anyway, it's all in capitals, by the way. You are a dickhead. Stop transfer listing good players, you piece of poo. Yeah, never before or since have I been called a piece of poo. So there you go.
What video was that on?
One of the Real Madrid ones. I think it was probably the one where I signed Messi or something.
Oh man!
Oh, brilliant!
See, MGH, you're not the only one who gets shit for transfer listing good players.
Oh, that comment also had 46 likes, so 46 other people also think that I'm a piece of poo.
The IQ level.
Oh man! So there you go. It is not just MGH who has to deal with horrible, toxic comments. We get them from time to time as well, but that'll pretty much go ahead and bring this together. Let's go ahead and go into what is going on your channels right now. Rich, plug the shit. What is going on your channel right now?
Well, I've got my Oxford United Road to Glory series going on, and that's in the 2nd season at the moment. So yeah, that's carrying on, and the Bayern Munich career mode as well will be coming back very soon. I haven't uploaded for a couple of weeks in that series, but it will be back probably in the next couple of days. So yeah, Bayern's coming back, and Oxford will be continuing as well.
All right, and Tyler, what is... I had a burp again. Going on in your channel?
Sorry,
besides you wearing a pedophile bear head.
I have 5 episodes left of my Marseille career mode, and then I'll be starting a Juventus career mode, and then I have a Swindon Road to Glory career mode.
Yeah, there you go. And JYakers. What is going on?
So at the moment, I've only got 1 series going on, and that's not because I'm lazy or anything. I've got my I've got my Wimbledon series going on, but I'm planning to sort of do something alongside that very soon. Once I've got a bit more time, it'll be another sort of Road to Glory-esque style series, but with a bit of a twist. So you can look forward to that.
Mystery, intrigue. So there you guys go. You guys, if you're on this, go ahead. Remember. Go ahead and click on any of their borders at any time in this video. There'll be an annotation to go ahead and get to them. If you're on the mobile, go ahead and click on the, what is the thing called? The annotation that you can access on mobile. All their channels will be linked in there as well. Click on all of them, subscribe to all of them. They're all incredible career mode YouTubers and just pretty swell guys. Except Rich. Rich is kind of a dick on occasion.
Yeah, that's true.
But he's generally a pretty...
What is Tyler doing?
I think he's giving the webcam a teddy bear blowjob is what is the best that I... No! Tyler, no, we're gonna cut off right here. We're gonna cut it off right here.